Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We're excited to be taking part in Bett. My name is Ben Koski. I'm a systems engineer for Cisco Meraki, and today we're going to run through Beyond the Classroom and how Cisco Meraki is supporting schools with their full networking stack products to manage their IT. Cisco Meraki's motto is about simplifying powerful technology to free passionate people to focus on their mission and, to put it simply, work simple. So with today's demonstration, we're going to show you how we can align with our mission statement. Now, for those of you who don't know about Cisco Meraki, we are a fully cloud managed solution from wireless switching, security SD-WAN products, MDM, mobile device management, security cameras, and most recently, environmental sensors. And we're also among Cisco's fastest growing portfolio. We've now got in the regions of 3.5 million devices active and online at this time. So those numbers kind of show the scale and as well as the robust infrastructure that Cisco Meraki has to be able to manage all those devices from anywhere in the world. And this can be done from a web browser, which we'll see today in the demo, but also from your iOS or Android app, so you can just quickly bring it up and see your network at any time. We offer end-to-end protection. So we can look at the endpoint with Systems Manager and how we lock that down, push out restrictions in certain applications. We can also look at blocking traffic and filtering traffic with our wireless access points and our MX security appliances. And also we can offer that physical security with our MV security cameras. So we're going to offer that end-to-end visibility for schools and how we keep students safe, staff and students safe. So let's jump in, have a look at the Meraki Dashboard. Now, I've got a tab already open up here, which we'll go to. And this will link to our overview page of all of our Meraki networks. So if I click across to here, I can then see all of the different locations that our corporate network has. So being that we are a global organization, we've got sites in the US, UK, Australia, but today we'll zoom in on the UK where we've got a couple of locations. And if you are an Academy Trust and you've got a number of schools that you manage, then be able to jump through different networks is quite a powerful tool. So if I jump for us to, let's look at our London Finsbury location, which is actually where our sales office is. That's going to bring me to that network where I can see and manage all of my networking devices. So here on the left-hand side, we've got our security and SD-WAN appliance, got our switching, and we've got our wireless in our Meraki Systems Manager. First off, let's look at the edge of the network, which would be where your router firewall sits. So that's our Meraki MX appliance. It has a benefit of coming with two WAN links, so you can connect to two different dispersed ISPs. So you've always got the uptime for IT connectivity, especially in the digital age that we've moved into now. Everything's in the cloud. Everything needs to be accessed remotely. So we're going to need to have that constant uptime. This can also be used for our SD-WAN tunnels. So if you are linking multiple schools together to access servers at certain locations, even though most things are going to the cloud now, we do have an Azure or AWS or Google Cloud virtual appliance that can link to those cloud hosted services. You can easily, as well with a couple of clicks, so if I go to site-to-site VPN here, I can very easily set up our site-to-site VPN connections by just selecting my hub or spoke, turning on my subnets on advertise and hitting save. And that will build all the tunnels to all those other locations that I want. And then I can easily access servers, print services, stuff like that between my different locations or different schools. It also allows us to use remote VPN. So at the moment, everything's in lockdown, staff and students are at home, so maybe they want to access resources at the school. And that's where I can set up my VPN service here. And you can push that out either to the inbuilt OS VPN service, or you could use our MDM offering to push out automatically those VPN settings so they can just click and connect. Next part of the network is getting all of our wireless devices on. So we'll come to our wireless access points. And with the influx at the moment of wireless devices that we have on the network, so if that's your one-to-one devices for device to student, if that's your guest devices, if that's your IoT and your cameras that come into the network, the IT industry has been asking to put more and more strain on the network. So we need to make sure we've got a high density access point that can set up to the test of time. And if you are looking at replacing your network and make that investment, especially maybe that 10-year investment for a school, you've got to make sure you've got the best product out there at the time. So that would be the Wi-Fi 6 standard that's out at the moment. The older Wi-Fi 5 standard is about 7 years old now, so you've got to make sure you're going with the latest so that you've got to last that 10-year investment that you're going to be purchasing or looking to purchase up to 10 years. And what you're kind of getting for your money there is if we jump into one of the APs, here we can see the general overview of the page. You're getting the easy deployment with Meraki AP, so because it's all cloud managed, essentially you just plug it in, you'll get an IP address and then register your portal and down the configuration. So within about 5 minutes, if you start broadcasting your SSIDs, and you can start seeing all your clients connecting and making sure the health of your network is looking good. And the way it does this, connecting clients and checking the health is, it's got 4 radios. So the first radio is your 2.4 gigahertz, the second one is your 5 gigahertz. We've then got a BLE IoT radio, and finally we've got an RF scanning and air marshalling radio. And that 4th radio will constantly scan the airwaves to tell us, okay, is there any poor performance? So we've got a new performance tab here. This will measure what's the signal quality like, what's the channel utilization like, do we need to increase or decrease our transmit power? So in the event, if you've got an AP that goes down, the APs, Meraki APs around them can increase their transmit power to handle that black hole. So they're going to give you maximum availability in that space. They can also change channels as well. If you are seeing that there's some interference on a certain channel, they can automatically adjust as part of that. So this performance tab here I've just clicked into is a new feature of us. So being part of the cloud managed family means that we can easily push out new updates to our dashboard portfolio, and you get access to those automatically being that you're with the Meraki family. So we can look at this health, we call it the Meraki health, in 3 different areas. So with the wireless access points, you're going to look at it as a network as a whole, you're going to look at it as an AP, and you're going to look at it as an individual client, and we can check the health at each step. So if we're looking at this AP here from a summary page, we can see the health is okay. We're having some clients that can't connect, and it's an authentication issue here. But the latency is looking pretty good. So mostly it's less than 64 milliseconds, which is great. That's what we want to see. We can drill down into the authentication to see why it's failing. And we can see that we've had an Android device couldn't get a DHCP lease, but also another device that can't connect to the corporate network because it's got a radio server. And most likely, maybe they've not changed their password, or we can't communicate that radio server, and just gives us something to go into. We can break down a bit further into the connection side. We can see a bit further about where exactly it's failing, and is it a certain SSID, which is perhaps mapped to a VLAN that's failing, and we can identify those. But if we want to, we can break that down into the client level. So generally, client troubleshooting is quite hard, or it has been quite hard in the past. You might get a report from staff or students saying, oh, the Wi-Fi is really terrible in our class today, and they might tell you at the end of the day, so it's really hard to go back in time and say, okay, well, what was wrong at that point in time? But with Meraki, we've collected all that data, so you can very easily search for the client in the client table here. So I'm just going to go to this Android device here. It's going to pull up that individual client, and we can see how that client's accessed the network throughout the day. So right now, you can see how it's connected. We can see how it's connected in our Meraki network. So you can see it's connected to an AP, to a Meraki switch, to our core switch, and then finally out to our firewall, which is showing us 0% packet loss and 0% and very low latency. So from a networking standpoint, this is all looking pretty good. All green ticks is what we want to see. But that's right now. What about in the past? So that's where we can go into history and see how that client has moved about, how it's connected, stuff like that. So we can see here this client's all got green ticks. But if we go down here, we can see that actually there was some failures. It didn't get a DHCP lease. It was very slow to connect. So it looks like it did eventually connect to another AP at 8.1. So some issues there we can dive into. But we can also look at the performance side of things. So we can see some historical data of, okay, how this was performing. So if we look over the last day, actually have not connected when they said they did yesterday. So maybe they're on the cellular network, not actually on the wireless network. But we can break it down. Signal quality, they've had great signal quality, so they're close to the AP, very low latency, So again, they are close to the AP, so it's not any interference or anything like that, or anyone taking up all the airtime. There's very low client count, and we can see that across the board that should be looking pretty good. So then it might be actually an application usage that's causing the problem there. So next up in the end-to-end visibility, let's jump to Systems Manager, and for that we will look at our San Francisco network. That's where all of our devices are managed. I think we've got about 7,000 devices that Meraki Corporate Network's managing. So we can see all those from Systems Manager devices here. Now this is going to be the easiest way to manage the one-to-one and BYD devices, especially if you've got a multi OS environment. If you've got Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, Chromebooks, we can manage all those platforms in a single dashboard, so not having to have different dashboards to manage all of your different products. So Systems Manager is an endpoint management system. It can easily manage and control your school and student-owned devices, and we do this via being reliable by provisioning and monitoring and securing those devices that you have. So if we just pick an iOS device here, I'll just pick an iPad at random here. We can see that once it's enrolled, we've got a lot of visibility to that device. So things like location, so we can see whereabouts that device is. If it was to leave that certain area, leave the school or leave the UK, we probably know that device has been stolen, and we can get alerted to that. We can push out various other things like they're running antivirus, check that device is running antivirus, make sure we've got policies applied to that, alerts, or remove apps and settings if they're not running certain things that we set. A couple key features, we want to make sure the device is always up to date. So whether that's the latest settings, so latest restrictions, we want to push out to the devices, the latest apps and make sure the apps are updated, the latest wireless profiles, when they do come back to school, they're up to date and they can automatically connect. We can integrate with Apple School Manager and Apple Classroom, and we can easily enroll devices at scale by using Apple DP and Android Enterprise. So you can easily just power the device on, it will register and connect straight away and download the settings. So very much like a zero-touch deployment style. We also offer BYD, so for students and the parents at home, if they want to onboard into the school's platform, they can self-enroll via a URL, which then connect to the dashboard, and we can do things like push out applications and stuff like that to the device. So some of the things we can push out are things like Wi-Fi networks, email accounts, apps, device configurations, wallpaper, web clips, restricting access. But one of the use cases we can look at for schools is how can we manage those screen-based distractions when they are working from home? There's so many things that they could be doing, like playing Fortnite or messaging their friends on Facebook or Instagram or whatever the students get up to. So we could do single app mode. So for that, what we need to do is set a schedule. So we can come to the tags page here and we can make a tag-based schedule. So I could just go add a tag, schedule tag, and we want to set our school hours. So we've already created one, but I'll set up a new one again. We go new schedule here. And we could say for this group, or for this tag, we're going to make the general school hours Monday to Friday. We're going to say 9 till 12, and then they're going to go on lunch and they can have their apps back. And then they're going to come back from 1 until 4 o'clock. And I can make that schedule across the days. So when that time is active, this tag will apply, and then with that we can push out the different settings. So once we've created our tag, we can then go to our settings section here, actually create our settings profile that will push out our single app mode. So we go add a profile, choose device profile here. Then we want to check the scope. So we will choose that we'll have device with all the following tags, and it'll be a policy tag, and the one is school hours. And then we can also have a user tag, which would pull in from Active Directory or the owner name. So perhaps it's a certain grade level or maybe like a certain class that they want to have. We could do that as well. So once we've done that, it would tell us if there's any devices that will be in profile. So right now it's none, but I could say with any of the following tags, if you were to choose a few more, it might pull up some more devices here. Once we've done that, we would go add settings, and then we want to do kiosk mode. So we can do Chrome, Android, or iOS here. So if we do iOS, we'll just choose the application we'll use to have access to, which in this instance we'll just do Chrome, and then hit save. So once this device has that scope, once it's in those hours, it will push out single app mode, so then it can only access this application we want it to. So it's going to hopefully reduce the screen-based distractions they might have on their devices and focus more on the lesson time, encouraging students to be active and involved. That's all I wanted to showcase today within the dashboard. There's plenty more we could go over, and certainly that's what we would like you to do, be more interested and want to know more. So you can reach out to your Cisco Meraki sales rep or to your technology partner to learn more. But I would also encourage you to visit meraki.cisco.com. We've got several resources for you to check out. So if we just have a look here, we've actually got a education page for the UK set up. So it's going to give you some more content, as you can see here. So I'll leave that for your free time. But we've also got a webinar set up where you can get a free AP. So sign up to Introduction to Cloud Managed IT. You just Google search this, it'll come up. Once you register, you'll get access to the video to learn more about the managing IT from a school perspective, not from me, from a Meraki perspective. And you'll be eligible for a free access point. So who doesn't like free stuff? So you can trial the Meraki Cloud for yourself. Thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the Bett show, and all the best. Bye for now.